The Brave Little Mouse. Chapter 1. The Mouse Beneath the Floorboards. In a quiet little cottage at the edge of a wide and whispering field, there lived a very small mouse. His name was Tarin. Tarin was not the biggest mouse nor the strongest. In fact, he was quite small even for a mouse. His whiskers were soft, his paws were gentle, and his voice was rarely heard above a quiet squeak. But there was one thing about Tarin that made him different. He was brave, not the loud kind of brave, or the bold kind that charges forward without thinking. No, Tarin's bravery was quieter than that. It was the kind that stayed, even when his heart trembled. Tarin lived beneath the floorboards of the cottage, where warm beams of sunlight slipped through tiny cracks during the day and soft golden lamplight glowed at night. His home was simple but carefully made, a bed of woven grass, a shelf of crumbs he had gathered, and tucked beside his sleeping place, a needle. Not just any needle. It was long, thin, and slightly curved, with a small thread still tied loosely through its eye. To anyone else, it was just something dropped long ago. But to Tarin, it was a sword. Every evening when the cottage grew quiet and the wind whispered through the fields, Tarin would sit with his needle sword across his lap and listen. He listened to the creaks of the wood, to the distant hoot of owls, to the rustle of grass beyond the walls. The world outside was vast and unknown. And though Tarin had never gone far beyond the cottage, he felt it calling. One night, as the moonlight stretched long and pale across the floor above him, Tarin heard something new, a sound he had never heard before, soft, faint, and trembling. Help! Tarin's ears twitched. He sat very still, again carried gently on the wind. Please. The voice was not inside the cottage. It came from outside, from the field, from the darkness beyond. Tarin's small heart began to beat a little faster. He looked at his cozy home, at his bed, at his carefully gathered crumbs, then at the needle sword resting beside him. He knew what it meant. Slowly, quietly, Tarin stood. He wrapped a thin strip of cloth around his shoulder, tied his little satchel in place, and picked up the needle. It felt light in his paws, familiar. The voice came once more, faint and distant. Help! Tarin took a breath, a small one, a steady one, and then, for the very first time, the little mouse stepped out from beneath the floorboards. Chapter 2. The Field of Tall Shadows. The night air was cool and wide and full of gentle movement. Tarin had never seen the world like this before. The grass rose high above him, swaying softly like great green towers. The earth beneath his paws felt vast and open, and every sound seemed larger than it should be. A breeze passed through the field, and the grass whispered all around him. For a moment, Tarin almost turned back. His home was warm, safe, known, but then, there it was again, faint, fragile. Help! Tarin tightened his grip on the needle sword. No, he whispered to himself, I'm already here. And so he walked forward. The deeper he went into the field, the taller the grass seemed to grow. The shadows stretched long and thin across the ground, moving gently as the wind passed through. Somewhere above, an owl called softly. Tarin froze, his ears pressed flat, his heart beat quickly. But nothing came. After a moment, he moved again, step by careful step. Then, as he reached a small clearing where the grass bent away in a soft circle, he saw it, a tiny glow, flickering, fading. Tarin approached slowly, and there, resting against a small stone, was a firefly. Its light was dim, unsteady, its wings barely moved. You came, the firefly whispered. Tarin knelt beside it. I heard you. he said gently. The firefly's glow flickered once, faintly brighter. I tried to cross the field, but the wind and the cold. Tarin looked around. The field stretched endlessly in every direction. Too far, too open, too dangerous for something so small and weak. Where were you going? Tarin asked. The old oak, the firefly said softly, at the edge of the hill. There is warmth there, and others. Tarin followed the direction of its faint light. Far away, barely visible, a shadow of a great tree stood against the night sky. It was very far. Tarin looked back at the firefly, then at the distant oak, then at the needle sword in his paw. I'll help you, he said. The firefly's light trembled. You will? Tarin nodded. Yes. He gently helped the firefly onto his shoulder, where it rested against the cloth of his satchel. Its glow, though faint, cast a small circle of light around them. Hold on, Tarin said softly. And together, they began the long journey across the field.